Welcome to this video showing you how to use our accounts template. The first worksheet in the workbook is instructions, and you'll see here how to use each of the individual worksheets. Going through this one by one. First thing to note is that any cells requiring data entry are highlighted in yellow and only those cells should be used. If we look at the profit and loss, you'll see yellow, income, expenses, business mileage, etc. So remember, only enter where you've got yellow. We'll look at inserting rows into the expenses and income worksheets in a minute, but first of all you've got your profit and loss. When you receive this workbook from us, you'll normally find that your client name will have been completed and also your financial year end. And then your expenses will normally have made sure that you've got the expenses there that you have in your usual accounts each year. So we'll have adjusted that for you. And other than your name and financial year, there's nothing else to change on that worksheet. But it gives you an overview as to what your income is and what your expenses are before we make any taxable adjustments for you. We go back to the instructions then. We've got instructions on the income worksheet. Basically on the income worksheet, you should put the date, and again it has to be in the right format. If it's not, so for instance here we're using the year end 31st March 16, so this date is before the first day in that period, which is 1st of April 15, so it won't allow us to do it. Also, if we put it in the wrong format, so if we put with a full stop in between, it won't allow us to do it. So the date, because we're working on the year end 31st March 16, the date should for instance be 1st of April 15. Our customer then, let's assume it's Rose Red. Description, you can put an invoice number here or anything that helps you and us to identify what that is. And the amount, so say she paid us £1,500. So that's how you complete the income tab. The expenses tab is the same, again with the date. You have to make sure it falls within the date range and also that it's the right format. So if we put the 2nd of April 15, we've got here method, and again we would normally have spoken to you about how you pay your expenses, but say you paid them using your personal bank account, so we'll put bank account. You need to tell us what category it is, and they're the categories that we saw on your profit and loss account. So again, we'll make sure that those reflect what you have actually spent or what you actually spend. So let's say it's equipment IT related, let's say it's a new PC and it's £299.99. Now don't worry if you're putting something on here that you have a thought that perhaps it's not an expense, it's something that's going to last in your business. We'll make those adjustments for you. So on your expenses tab, you just note down anything you've spent which is related to the bank. We then go to business mileage, the same rules, so we'll put the 3rd of April 15. The customer, who did you go and see? Red Rose. Nature of visit, discuss new contract. The location is, I don't know, let's say Oxford Street, London, and the mileage from home to there and back again is 235 miles. It's important to keep good mileage records, and this is one way of doing it. You don't have to use this mileage tab. You can just give us a figure at the end of the year for your business mileage, but you're having to record these records anyway somewhere, and this just seems a nice way for you to do it. Also used as office. If you work from home, you can claim a percentage of your expenses based on the square footage that you use in your house. And in order to do this, we would need to know the expenses that relate to that room. So your mortgage, interest, rent for the whole house, your gas, electric, council tax, etc., which will give us your total costs. Then we'll need to know how many rooms there are in the house or flat, excluding kitchens and bathrooms. How many rooms are used for business, which is probably normally going to be 1, and the percentage of time that it's used for business. And we would expect that never to be 100% because firstly you'll get into capital gains tax problems if you put 100%, and secondly the reality is you're probably using a room that sometimes you use for surfing the internet or personal browsing, so it's unlikely to be 100%. And then if you started using your home as the office during this current year, let us know the date. If you don't want to complete that and give us those figures, you can actually just claim £4 a week. And if you'd like us to do that, just click on the drop down and put yes and leave this blank, and we'll know to claim £4 a week in your accounts. We also need to know if you've got any other income or payments that you make that need to be included in on your tax return. So for instance, dividend income, interest income, or if you make pension payments. So you would complete those on this other income payment schedule. Going back to the instructions, so we've gone down the income, we've gone down the expenses, business mileage, use of home, other income payments. What happens if you get to the bottom here and you've added in your last one, or rather than waiting till you get to the bottom, say you get here, you've added your last one, so you want to add another row to your income. What you would do is go to the macros and you would click insert income row, and you'll see that's gone down to 25. If we do it again, you'll see now you've got 26. It's very important to insert rows using this macro because it keeps all the formulas and keeps all the formatting. Again, you've got one for inserting expenses row and you've got one for inserting mileage row. And if you want to, you can use the save workbook macro, and it will save your workbook in a particular format. So that's how to use the accounts template, and if you have any questions at all, let us know.